I'm Amy Cassandra Martinez, and welcome to another Sideshow Con exclusive interview. Today, we are joined by Katrina Cerise Aranya, partner and creative art director at Boss Fight Studios. And you may know them for their toy designs and their original action figure brand, Vitruvian Hacks. We are excited to announce that Boss Fight is bringing their talents to the underworld. They have partnered with Sideshow to create a pair of 1/18th scale figures of characters from Sideshow's original dark fantasy property, Court of the Dead. Katrina, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you are known for your highly detailed, fully articulated, collectible figures that span different subjects from Greek mythology to zombies to fantasy. In what ways did this experience transfer over to this new project?
Well, it was actually a fairly smooth transfer because our fantasy, our Greek mythology, even our zombie, all kind of live in the same sort of world as Court of the Dead. Like Court of the Dead heavily takes its influence from mythology and fantasy and kind of the darker parts of that than we've dealt with, but it really was an easy transfer for us to make because of that.
That's great to hear, for sure. And now, to reveal which characters Boss Fight is working on, you may know them as the Queen of the Dead and the First Sword of the Dead, Gethsemane and Kier. Now, how were these characters like other characters that you've done?
These two specifically were they were the easiest for us to start with because we were able to reuse straight up our body from our Vitruvian Hacks female. We had new heads sculpted, we've got new accessories, new hands, little details, but the base body we were able to keep the same because they are very human looking.
What were the major challenges and what were those differences that you had to kind of like work through?
For these two characters, the challenges were not as great as we foresee in like future characters where there are characters like, forgive me if I pronounce these wrong, but Avarkus, who's very emaciated, and Galavarb, who does not have human legs at all, and our figures are very articulated, very movable, and she's got like a mermaid tail. We'll want to keep that workable in some way. So engineering-wise, it's going to be a huge challenge.
Yay! Everyone will be super pumped about those for sure. Now, 1/18th scale figures do have a rich history in the collectible space. What attracted Boss Fight to this specific scale?
This is the scale that we started out with. We all have kind of a background with Hasbro for the most part, working in G.I. Joe and Star Wars. And those are kind of historically 1/18th scale figures. And the reason we love this scale is its flexibility. First, you can have a lot of figures and it doesn't take as much space when you're dealing with 12-inch or 6-inch. It costs more. It takes up more shelf space if you want to do dioramas. If you want to make vehicles or horses or monsters later, they have to be huge. Where at the 4-inch scale, it's very, very much easier to work with than those larger scales.
And I would figure, I mean, it's a figure, technically you could have more if you have a smaller space. So yes. It's a win. It's a win for everyone in that case. Now, what about the dark fantasy horror universe of the Court of the Dead inspired your team?
Well, our team specifically, we're all Sideshow fans. We've been Sideshow fans for a long time. And some of our partners even worked a little bit with Sideshow back at Hasbro. But Court of the Dead specifically it's just so visually appealing, and the characters, it's not just a statue. There's a character and there's a story and there's a whole world behind it. And it's the type of thing that we really love to do with our own toy line. So to partner with another company who is kind of looking at it the same way, it's really just a win-win for us.
That's great to hear. Now, what were some of the challenges of adapting Sideshow's uber detailed designs into such small scales, basically?
This This was definitely a challenge. Not only the scale, but also like Gethsimone's got in the statue, she's also got like a cloth robe cape. So when we were designing, we wanted to keep that because color-wise, it's a lot of the color for the statue. So if we lost that, we would lose a lot of the color in the figure. So we can't, the easiest way to do that was kind of to take her bikini piece and combine it with that cloth piece, and we gave her a little bit of a skirt rather than directly translating it exactly the way that the statue is. In other parts, there are tiny, tiny little details like chains and things that you cannot make in a 1/18th scale, they'll just vanish. So we've had to kind of combine parts where there would be like multiple chains into something thicker, or we would have to leave it off completely or completely retranslate it to something new. But going back and forth with our team, with your team, making sure that everybody is happy with the compromises, I think we're landing in a good place.
Yay! Now, what hints can you give us as to what you'll be working on in the future? Like what more?
Oh, well, we hope to be able to do everybody eventually. We would love that. So if everybody keeps their fingers crossed, likes them a lot, everybody's happy, that's where we really like to be. Shorter term, we'd like to get to a couple of the characters that aren't quite as human looking, that don't have legs, things like that.
Yay! Well, I mean, hey guys, you heard her. So let's cross our fingers and let's really support this. Now, we are so excited to announce our new partnership with Boss Fight and are looking forward to what they bring through the veil. Now, thank you so much, Katrina, for joining us. It's been a blast chatting with you. And thank you everyone else for joining. We hope you enjoyed this exclusive sneak peek into the world of Boss Fight. You can find out more about them on Boss Fight Studio on Facebook and at Boss Fight Studio on Instagram and on Twitter. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you, Katrina, for joining us. And don't forget, guys, to let your geek side show.